Hello, everyone. Welcome to, what a way to start, the PGA Championship edition of Green on the Greens. Myself and Cody Williams. We are coming off, technically, kind of, the second straight week of giving an outright winner. Obviously, Cody, you gave out Max Homa the week before at the Wells Fargo. I gave out KH Lee top 20. Now he won, so that cashed the top 20 bet. Does that count as giving out an outright winner, though? I don't think it does.
We'll give you like a half point, I think.
I'll take half a point for it. I'll take half a point for it. I had a pretty good week overall. Let's just right off the top get these out of the way, and then we're going to jump right into the PGA Championship. Cody, you did give out Max Homa 40-1 the week before. Not a great week this week, though.
Yeah, things went awry. I knew when Zalatoris was struggling on the greens that it was probably going to be a bad week, and that my leans and my feels were probably pretty off. So, yeah, nothing really went well.
You were kind of close with your miss the cut pick of Tommy Fleetwood. He finished T59, so that was probably your best bet of the week, even though that didn't hit. Kurt Kitayama to finish top 20. He missed the cut. Aaron Wise to finish top 10. He went T51. Brooks Koepka to finish top 5. We had an argument last week about how Brooks Koepka would do. Adam to miss the cut. You had him finish top 5, and he withdrew before the tournament started. So neither of us were correct with that one, I guess, in a sense. And your winner, Will Zalatoris, missed the cut. It's never good when the guy you pick to win just doesn't even make the weekend.
Yeah, it kind of defeats all your hopes and dreams right there off the start.
But, I mean, you're still living high off the Max Homa win the week before, so I'll forgive you for this past week. My missed the cut, as I mentioned, Brooks Koepka. He withdrew. KH Lee to finish top 20 at plus 300. He won. So I guess top 20 was never really in question. I really wish I bet on him to win at 100-1. That would have been nice, but oh well. Top 10, Hideki Matsuyama, T3. That cashed at plus 240. My top 5 pick, Sam Burns, missed the cut. And then winner, Justin Thomas, finished T5. So 3 of my 4 picks to place finished in the top 5, but I only hit a top 20 and top 10. So a very good week, but also kind of ended up only resulting in like a kind of good week. But I'll take it as profit for sure. It's good profit, but I guess it's just a little disappointing having 3 of the 4 guys you pick finish in the top 5 and only walking away with like a 5-unit profit. Like, could have been so much more. And then our closest to the win last week, no points all around. Both the guys missed the cut. Both Doc Redmond and Hudson Swafford missed the cut. So we stand at 1-1 for closest to the win. Now, let's talk PGA Championship, the second major of the year. Southern Hills, Tulsa, Oklahoma. First things first, do you want to win $500? Yes, of course you do. So head over to the BetSided Twitter account. Look at the pinned tweet. All you got to do is follow BetSided, retweet that tweet, and then reply to it with your pick to win this week's PGA Championship. And you could win $500 Visa gift card, free to enter, all that good stuff. Do it right now. Do it. Why wouldn't you? It's $500. Do it. And if you don't want the $500, then enter, win, and then just give me the $500 because I could use it. So absolutely do that. But let's talk about our own picks for this week's PGA Championship. Let's just start with closest to the win. We'll get that out of the way, and then we'll dive into the event a little bit more. So let's just start off closest to the win. Cody, who's your long shot pick for this week? And by the way, I looked at the odds list. There's some very good golfers. Like it's a good week for close to the win. If neither of our guys miss a cut, then we're doing something wrong because there's some very good golfers far down on the odds list.
I was noticing that as well. I was like, oh man, this is like a dream. I don't have to search for this guy's made a top 50 in his past 5 starts this week. This is wonderful. Right. So my closest to the win this week is a guy we both like a lot is Harold Varner III. Like you said, it's an advantage at a major that you can get value on a guy like HB3 who's playing so well. Over his last 20 rounds, he is 7th in this field in strokes gained approach, which once again is going to be really crucial with the way this course is set up. He has 4 straight top 23 finishes over that span as well. And he's a good around the greens player. The putter can be a little hit or miss, but I really like for him to continue his trend of playing well this year and make a good finish at the PGA Championship.
And I'll be putting up against Harold Varner. I'll put up Adam Hadwin, fellow Canadian here, 31st in total strokes gained this season, 25th in strokes gained approach, 18th in strokes gained around the green, 6th in sand save percentage. So he's not a long driver. I don't think that'll hurt him too much at Southern Hills. But his short game is very good, and his approach game is underrated as well. So I'll go Adam Hadwin for my closest to the win pick. Harold Varner versus Adam Hadwin. At least one of them got to make the cut.
You would think. I mean, if not, we really botched it this week.
Right. So before we dive into our picks here, let's dive into the PGA Championship a little bit, because I'm kind of curious your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on Southern Hills? Because it's a tough one. Obviously, if you don't know, the last time we saw a PGA event here was the 2007 PGA Championship. 2009 U.S. Amateur was here as well, so there are some guys who competed in that. Ben On won it. I don't think he's in the PGA Championship this week, though. His game kind of fell off. Is he not in the PGA?
Yeah,
on the field?
He's on the Corn Ferry Tour right now, so I do not think he's in the PGA Championship.
Yeah. Yeah, probably good guess. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Southern Hills, Cody?
So from what the research I've done on it, like I said, approach play is going to be really critical, specifically distance control. So the greens, like, they measure out like about a little bit bigger than tour average, but there's a lot of false fronts and a lot of bad places you can miss if you don't have your distances dialed in. So it's going to be really critical to, make sure you're hitting your approaches on the right distance. So it is another second shot golf course, but that also makes, around the green play, crucial in case you do miss. You need to be able to save and, not put up a big number because you didn't hit the green. And then going back to what you said about length, I don't think it's going to be incredibly important overall, but in par 5 scoring, if you want to take advantage of the par 5s at Southern Hills are really long. I think there's at least 2 over 600 yards. So you need to have some distance in those capacities. And then on top of that, everything I'm seeing says it's going to be really windy this week in Tulsa. So, which, I mean, makes sense. It's, Oklahoma in May. Figures that wind would probably be a factor. So, you take all that into account, and you're really, once again, looking at ball strikers, but also ball strikers who can, get themselves out of bad spots if they get in there around the green.
Any thoughts on the rough? I read his Bermuda rough, I believe, which I think is kind of tough to hit out of. Do you in terms of off the tee, do you think distance and or accuracy are important this week, or do you think it's just mostly just a second shot golf course?
I think it's mostly a second shot golf course. From what I've seen, the fairways aren't particularly narrow, so I don't think it's going to be like, accuracy is going to be a premium. I mean, you don't want to be in a bad spot because it is Bermuda rough, and it is like, if it's thick, it can be hard to hit out of. But at the same time, the reason it's Bermuda rough is because in Oklahoma they can't really grow grass through the winter, and so like that's like the one thing they can to like have the rough be any kind of penal. But I think with how dry it is in the Southwest right now, I don't think it's going to be particularly lush. So,
now, as you were talking, I was trying to find a quote by Rory today, which I thought was really interesting because it kind of confirmed. I can't find it because, of course, I can't. It kind of confirmed one of my theories, and you brought this up, is that around the green play is going to be extremely important because it's going to be tough to hit a lot of these greens, get them to stick. Guys are going to have to get up and down when they miss the green. So I think if there's I would say the most important stat this week, in my opinion, is strokes gained around the green, or like scrambling, something like that. Would you agree with that take?
I mean, I am a glutton for punishment, and I just always default to strokes gained approach being the most important. But secondary is definitely around the green. I looked at around the green more than I do in most weeks this week.
I agree. I did value driving accuracy a little bit. I'm trying to stay away from inaccurate drivers, just because I read about the rough and I played Bermuda rough. That's kind of what it is back in Nova Scotia, and that stuff's sticky as hell. But I might be I tend to kind of overvalue. I think that's one of those stats that I look at guys who are inaccurate drivers and I just cross them off my list, and then it doesn't always work out for me.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at like Bryson at Wingfoot, and he wasn't particularly accurate in terms of finding the fairways, but he was right. No one was, because the wind picked up a little bit, but he was so much further down in the rough than everyone else that he had a shorter club going into the green. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many factors that go into driving accuracy when you consider it that way.
Yeah, I did value driving accuracy this week, but the top one for me was more short game, more around the green, scrambling percentage. I really wish I could find that Rory quote because it was so interesting what he said. But I'm not going to find it. Let's dive into the picks here. Oh, right before we do, thoughts on Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods obviously making his second start of the season after finishing 47th or something like that at the Masters. Is Tiger Woods going to do anything at Southern Hills? Obviously, he was the winner last time the PGA Championship was held here. What is your Tiger Woods? Give me your Tiger Woods prediction. Where does he? You don't have to dive into him too deep. Give me a placing. Where do you think he finishes?
I'm going T38.
So you think he does make the cut?
I think he does make the cut. I actually think he's going to play really well in the first 2 days. And I think we're kind of going to see the same story as we did at the Masters, where he just doesn't have the conditioning and the stamina to last for 72 holes.
I think he's going to miss the cut.
Okay.
I think his experience at Augusta is so vital that it made him look better than how he's actually going to play at Augusta. And now he's at Southern Hills, which, I mean, he's won here before, so he obviously knows how to play, but it's like Augusta is like one of the best courses he can play at.
Do you want to make a little show bet on that?
Yep.
Okay, $20?
Yep.
Okay, $20. I say Tiger makes the cut.
Deal.
Love it.
All right, we'll see. All right, let's dive into our picks. I don't think either of us have Tiger as any of our picks here, so I did want to bring him up, of course, because he's going to be the hot name this week. No Phil Mickelson this week. I think I read somewhere. I think it was on.
Wonder why.
I think I read on Reddit. I mean, who knows? I read it on Reddit. It might have just been completely fabricated. But he was planning on playing, but he's been playing like crap in San Diego. Like he's been shooting in the high 70s, low 80s. So like
I actually read the same thing. So
okay, yeah. So like I think he planned on playing, but he was like, listen, if I'm going to go out there and shoot 80, then like it's not even worth putting up with the media and everyone that's going to follow me around. So like I think if he was like in good form and thought he had a chance to compete, he'd like put up with it. But it's like I'm not going to put up with that stuff and then go shoot an 82 on Thursday.
So. Yeah, I mean, that's just going to make things even worse than they already are, and they're pretty bad. So.
No Phil this week. No defending champion. I'm curious the last time a defending champion did not play at the PGA Championship.
I don't know the answer to that, but that's a really good trivia question for sure.
I don't know either, but let's get into our picks for this week. As always, we're going to start with missed cut. Cody, give me who's missing the cut at this year's PGA Championship? Brooks Koepka?
No, that's probably your pick, though. No, I have Louis Oosthuizen to miss the cut. I think he's being overvalued because of how well he played in majors last year. But this year he has looked nothing like the player he was, finishing second in every major that we watched, it felt like. He missed the cut at the Masters, so that goes to show you right off the bat that his major form just isn't carrying over to this year. And before that, he was T62 at the Valspar in the previous stroke play event that he played this year. And he also hasn't been playing a lot, which, that's not really good if you're not in form. You need to play yourself into form. Over the last 20 rounds, he's losing 0.4 strokes per round on approach. And like I said, I think approach play is going to be critical. It's even in putting yourself in like not terrible spots around the green. Like if you're losing 0.4 strokes on approach per round, your irons and wedges just aren't where they need to be to compete at a major. And when you combine that with, I just think there's a lot of guys in this field who are playing well, both good odds and bad odds outright picks, and Louis not one of them to me. And so I think that you're going to get a good number on him to miss the cut because of how well he's performed in the majors, but I don't think he's that player right now.
In Louis Oosthuizen's defense, he withdrew from the Masters. He didn't miss the cut.
Oh, I apologize. I forgot about that.
He withdrew after Thursday 76 though, so he was on pace to miss the cut. So
okay,
I won't completely defend Louis Oosthuizen. But yeah, you're right. His best finish this year is a T14, and that was back in February. And he hasn't played since he withdrew from the Masters. So not only has he not been playing well, he could still be hurt. So
yeah.
I don't hate that. Did you happen to see any odds? Usually they don't come out with miscut odds this early. Did you happen to see any odds for that?
No, I haven't seen any miss the cut odds for anyone except for Tiger. I saw Tiger was somewhere was minus 155 to make and plus 125 to miss. So
okay. So I think I've lost some kind of betting value when we just made that $20 bet with each other. I see one. Okay. Wow. All right. Wow. What a move. My pick to miss the cut is actually not Brooks Koepka. I don't know if he might withdraw too, or again. I'm going to go Tony Finau, actually. T41 at Wells Fargo, so he's not in good form, and his short game is just terrible. 115th in strokes gained around the green, 192nd in strokes gained putting this season. Not accurate. 153rd in driving accuracy. So, in my opinion, the three things that you can't do really bad at Southern Hills is inaccurate with the driver, bad around the greens, and bad putting. And he's check, 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 bad, bad, bad. All three of those areas. So I'll take Tony Finau to miss the cut.
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I had him I think I had him as a top 5 for the Wells Fargo because I thought he was trending a little bit, and then everything I had seen went away. So I don't think he's in form. So
all right, let's move on to our bets to place here. I noticed, so I actually have my top 10, top 5, and winner are all. I also bet on them to win outright. And that they're 2 of the 3 are the same guys I bet on the Masters. So I'm just doing the same thing to myself again. I'm just setting myself for more failure. But let's start with top 20. I got a guy that's a little bit off the board, but hit me up with yours first, top 20 at this week's PGA Championship.
Mine is very much not off the board. I'm going with a guy that drives us both a little crazy, Matt Fitzpatrick. We know how well statistically he's been playing this year. Like, as for a long time, I don't think it's the case anymore, but he was leading the tour in strokes gained total this year. And over the last 30 rounds, he's still 6th in this field in strokes gained total. And he's been ball striking consistently all year. But the big thing with him is he's just not winning, and he still hasn't won. And doesn't look like he's going to be, he's like a top 20 machine. And so I saw WinBet had him at plus 190 for a top 20. And I think that's like a really safe play for Matt Fitzpatrick because that's the type of form he's in right now. Like, he's going to be one of the 20 best players in this field, but he's not going to be the best. So I like a top 20 bet for him because it gives you, the cushion to allow for the Matt Fitzpatrickness of it.
I have more to comment on that in a little bit.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm just, hey, let's run it back with the Masters. My top 20 bet, a little bit further off the board, though. Billy Horschel. Going to take him to finish in the top 20.
Okay.
Plus 260 is around consensus odds. Good form coming in. He's coming off a second-place finish. Obviously, that was a team event. I believe he was paired up with Sam Burns. But 23rd in strokes gained around the green, 7th in strokes gained putting. So one of the best short game players on tour heading into this week. 113th in strokes gained approach. But he's 27th in greens and regulation, which is a little bit weird because usually those stats are a little bit correlated. So I don't know which of those is going to be more important this week. Like, is he just good at hitting greens, but he's like leaving himself like 40-foot putts? That kind of stood out to me, but I think this week, as long as you hit the green, you're going to be putting yourself in better position than a lot of people. So hopefully he can just keep that up. And also he's a very accurate driver, 22nd driving accuracy. And he historically, does kind of well at majors. He's not winning, but he kind of sticks around a little bit. So for a little bit of a dark horse top 20 pick there, like I said, his odds are plus 260. Billy Horschel.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. Billy Horschel's never a guy that you're going to hear come out of my mouth because I have no feel for him at all. And going to your point about like him being good at majors, he's had good finishes at majors, but like there's a little bit of Turl Hatton quality to him, in my opinion, to where he is combustible. So that always worries me when you're talking about the pressure of a major. But for a top 20, like if it was a top 10, I'd be a little bit more worried than a top 20. So.
Yeah, so his last 3 starts at the PGA Championship, specifically T23, T43, and T23. So, like, not top 20, but right there. 2 of them he's finished 23rd. So,
yeah.
He's not great at majors. He has 1 top 10, T4 at the 2013 US Open, but he's always like T25, T26, somewhere in that range. So, just a little bit of a better than average performance from Billy Horschel, and we can get there this week. So, Billy Horschel, top 20. Moving on to top 10, hit me.
Top 10, I'm going with Shane Lowry to finish in the top 10 this week.
Oh.
He is a guy. So I'm in your boat as well. My top 10, top 5, and obviously my outright pick, I'm also betting them all outright. And Shane Lowry is a guy who I think is kind of like Homa a couple weeks ago at the Wells Fargo. I think is just being undervalued for how well he's playing this year. In his last 3 stroke play events, he is T3, T3, and T12. In his last 40 rounds, only Victor Hovland, Justin Thomas, and Cam Smith have gained more strokes on approach in this field. And of that group, only he and JT are gaining in every strokes gained category over that span. He's just playing. He has a complete game right now, and every time he tees it up, he's finishing well. And I feel like not enough people are realizing it. And most importantly, I don't think odds makers are really baking that into his price for how well he's playing. I think he should be, have much shorter odds than he does for top 10, top 5, and outright. So I really love this pick, and I love the value they're going to get with it.
A couple thoughts. Number one, I did not realize Shane Lowry was 4th on tour in strokes gained approach. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, he has just been absolutely dialed in. And like I think one of the reasons that people are so low on him, whether it's, odds makers or just the general public, is, they think back, it was the Honda, correct, where he had the lead on Sunday, and then the rain started when he was on the 18th hole and he just combusted. So yeah, I mean, like I think that colors a lot of people's perception because you take the 18th hole on Sunday, that's when everyone's watching, and he combusted. But we saw him win the Open Championship in howling winds, and if the wind picks up this week in Tulsa, we know he can succeed in high pressure environments with winds and tough conditions. And with the way he's playing this year, I just really think that a top 10 pick at the odds that you're going to get for him is just great value.
Now I'm going to play devil's advocate, though, to your pick because I got to do that. 143rd in strokes gained around the green concerns me.
It does, but I mean, it's kind of a chicken or the egg thing. If he is 4th in strokes gained approach this year, then there's a chance he might not have many opportunities to play around the green because he's a good putter as well. So even if he doesn't, excuse me, have good proximity if he has a poor chip or anything, he can save himself with the putter from time to time.
Also, to play devil's advocate for my own devil's advocate, and this seems very strange to me. This seems like these two would correlate, but he's 143rd in strokes gained around the green, but he's 2nd in scrambling and also 2nd in sand save percentage.
He must just be, Victor Hovland can't pitch to save his life. But I don't know how those numbers,
like
honestly, I couldn't.
143rd in strokes gained around the green, 2nd in sand save percentage. Like he should just be aiming for the sand. Just get it
right. Don't end up around the rough because that's when you get in trouble. But yeah, I mean, that's the only number that I would consider a negative. But I mean, over the last 40 rounds, like I was saying, he's been gaining strokes around the green. So I mean, that could have just been early season troubles that he was having, and he's just recovering from that statistically. But
That's true.
I mean, I think he's in top form right now.
Do you have a landline?
I do have a
landline. 2022. Why do you have a landline?
Because I live in the middle of the desert, Ian, and I don't have cell phone service at my house. So if there was
cell phone service,
oh no, I have to go like 5 minutes away to get cell phone service.
Dude, I did not realize that you live literally in the middle of nowhere. That's even more middle of nowhere than I grew up. At least when I grew up, I had cell phone service.
Oh, it's horrendous. I have a buddy who teaches at a high school that's right across the street, and if we wanted to talk to each other, we have to wait until after school hours because he can't talk to me.
That is insane. I heard your phone ring in the background there, and I was like, I haven't heard of like a landline ring in 10 years.
It's mostly telemarketers, which is really frustrating.
That's insane. Yeah, no one calls anymore. That's crazy. That sound kind of brought me back a little bit. All right, my top 10, and like I said earlier, I'm also betting him outright along with my top 5 and winner. And the top 10 is going to be Daniel Berger for me. I got him at around 4-1. I think he might be the best value bet on the board at WinBet specifically. If you're looking to bet on him to win, he's 63-1, which is insane to me. If you're just talking about value, I think it's got to be Daniel Berger this week. 7th in total strokes gained. 20th in driving accuracy. He's also very good with his short game. 1st on tour in sand save percentage. I just said Shane Lowry 2nd. Well, 1st is Daniel Berger, and he's 6th in scrambling. So he's not really a guy that I would bet on to win an event where he needs to get a ton of birdies because he's not a great scorer. But an event here where I think like the winner's probably going to be single digits under par, I think it kind of fits Daniel Berger's style pretty well here. So I think it's a great value bet. Like I said, he's 4-1 to finish top 10. He's great around the greens. He's a solid putter. His approach game is obviously pretty good. Top 10, Daniel Berger.
I'll play a little devil's advocate here. So he was a guy who coming into last year at the PGA, which obviously different course at Kiowa, and that's a longer course than Southern Hills is going to play. But, he was in great form and a lot of people were on him, and he struggled pretty pretty hard at Kiowa last year, if I'm not mistaken. Do you worry about, like, he's a guy who's never really performed too well in majors. Do you worry about that for him?
Yes, but I think the value offsets that. Like I wouldn't be betting on him if he was like top 10 on the odds list, but like he's like down like 20th, 25th. Like he's pretty far down on the
Yeah.
odds list. Like he's sandwiched in between. He has the same odds at least to finish like top 5. I don't have outrights in front of me, but like he's sandwiched around like Corey Connors and Max Homa territory, and I think there's some value there.
No, I would agree with that for sure. I mean, he's got a ton of game. It's just that worries me a little bit, especially for a top 10 pick. That he's not historically performed well, even if he's in form coming in.
Yep. So there's top 10. Let's move on to the nitty gritty here. Top 5 next. Go ahead.
I'm going with another guy that I know you like, Hideki Matsuyama. He's coming off a top 5 last week, and I just think that this is setting up for him to really showcase everything he does well. As we've mentioned a billion times, Hideki's one of the best ball strikers on tour. But one of the like people always talk about his short game and his putting being a problem, but his short game as a whole is good because he is a terrific around the greens player. And so when you combine that approach play plus his ability, if he does, end up around the green to save himself there, he is the perfect player for that type of thing. And then on top of that, we've seen over the years, Hideki thrives when the conditions get tough. And so if we're talking about wind and then a place that's a second shot golf course and where you need to save yourself around the greens every once in a while, I think he's a perfect play for this week. And he showed last week that he's healthy and that he's ready to, he's trending in the right direction. So I love him as a top 5 play. I'm putting an outright bet on him as well. And I just think that this is going to be a good week for Hideki.
Love that play. He's in good form. I've no argument against that. You brought up a great point. His putting's not great, but he's really good around the greens. Chipping is actually arguably what kind of won him the Masters last year. Mm-hmm. I don't have any argument against that. He was, and maybe this is going to bode well for your pick. I only want to bet like 3 outrights is kind of what I'm sticking to. If I was betting 4 outrights, like the 4th would have been Hideki Matsuyama. Now, that might bode well for you because at the Masters, like the 4th guy that I would have bet on would have been Scotty Scheffler. Like he was like the first guy or like the last guy that I crossed off my list. So if that trend keeps up, Hideki Matsuyama is a good pick here. And he's a good driver. He's long, but he's also accurate. Like he's just generally very good off the tee in both areas. Before I give out my top 5, did you have something else to say about Matsuyama?
I was just going to say that his putting is also historically it's been bad, but he's been about tour average pretty much most of this year. So he's made it to where it's not a strength necessarily, but it's not like a hindrance in his game. So, I mean, I just think that everything is pointing to him having, a big major run this year. He may not win another one, but he's going to be in contention, I think, at the rest of the majors this year.
I do have a question, but I'll hold it for after I give out my top 5. So my top 5 is a guy who I picked. This is a guy you already brought up. You have him top 20. I'm getting aggressive. Top 5, Matt Fitzpatrick. This is a stupid bet. I've bet on Matt Fitzpatrick so much this year. I keep waiting for him to win a tournament, and he hasn't done it. But I have to bet on him again this week. You brought him up earlier. He is still. I think he lost it, but I think he's back to being first in total strokes gained on the PGA Tour this year. I have him plus 750 to finish top 5. You can also bet on him to win, I think, at around 50-1. Just fantastic around the greens, which is very good this week. 19th in both strokes gained around the green and putting. He's 46th in driving accuracy, so he's largely going to stay out of that deep, thick Bermuda rough. And also, you mentioned we might see a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain here over the weekend, especially on Sunday. Matt Fitzpatrick historically plays well in that weather. He did it at the Wells Fargo when he finished, I think it was D2. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. He kind of thrives in that kind of rainy, windy kind of weather. So this might be the last time I bet on Matt Fitzpatrick. It's now or never, I think. But have I already said that 2 or 3 times before? Yeah, probably. So you took him top 20. I'm getting aggressive. Give me top 5, Matt Fitzpatrick.
All I got to say is just Godspeed to you, sir. You have a lot of intestinal fortitude to throw that out there because, my God, this guy has lost us some money doing stuff like this.
Yeah, you think that's bad. You wait till you see who my pick to win is.
Oh, God.
Really quick, though, I want to bring up one name we haven't mentioned, and I don't think you're on him to win either. I'm curious your thoughts. Scotty Scheffler, number 1 golfer in the world. just really quick thoughts on him this week. Does he have a chance? Does he just not have value? Does he have a Masters hangover? What are your quick thoughts on Scotty Scheffler?
For me, it was a lack of value because, he is the favorite, or, depending on your book, but the favorite or, co-favorites with Rahm.
Right.
But I just think the value is just not there. But, of course he can win. I projected last week that he was going to, struggle leading into the PGA because he was, focusing on that and a tune-up, and he was still top 20. And it was ho-hum. Like, he didn't even play that well, and he was still top 20. Like, it's just ho-hum. He's just in an other world of form right now. And so, of course he can win this week.
This also feels like a situation where if we don't bet on Scotty Scheffler, and at least I'm not going to, I'm going to feel so stupid if he just wins by 5 strokes again. It's going to seem very
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. It's one of those things where, like, I can't, because of the number, I morally can't bet on them. But
yeah. I can't take like golf tournaments. I just can't.
No, if I'm in single digits to 1, there's a good chance I'm not going to take you to win. Like, that's just where we're at.
So who's your pick to win?
So I do have one of the, heavier favorites. I have Rory McIlroy to win the PGA Championship. Talk about setting myself up for pain. So, as has been the case in every tournament he's played this year, basically, he is leading the field in strokes gained tee to green this year because he is just a monster off the tee. He obviously has the distance, but he's just putting the ball where he wants to with the driver, and it's been unreal. But his approach play is what I really want to focus on. He's gaining strokes on approach and is playing really well there. But one of the things I noticed at the Wells Fargo when he finished T5 was that he may not have been, close proximity-wise, but every iron and wedge shot he hit was the exact distance that he was trying to hit that shot. Like, he was pin high so often. Now, it wasn't dialed in. There was sometimes he had a 40-foot putt, but it was pin high. But leading up to a major, when you have a guy like Rory who is obviously gearing up for the bigger tournaments, I think that is a terrific sign that he is dialing the things in that you need to see dialed in. And he's also, a terrific around the green player traditionally in his career. The one worry this year has obviously been his putting, but this is bent grass greens, and that is his best putting surface historically is bent grass greens. So I think it is all shaping up for a big week for Rory. And, I'm putting my cards on the table and saying he's an outright win instead of, chickening out and going with the top 5 or something like that. I'm saying that Rory gets back in the winner's circle at a major.
I respect the fact that you are taking him to win instead of like a top 20 for like minus 110.
I am one to do that.
Very good strokes gained around the green, 14th. Yeah, I actually don't really have too many arguments against him. It's just Rory always seems just always a little bit overvalued to me, especially with his record at majors recently. 14-1, I would have liked to get a little bit better odds than that, but in terms of how his style fits the course and he's been in fantastic form, I can't argue against any of those points.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And like the last time we saw him at a major was Sunday at the Masters when he was just an absolute fireball running through Augusta. Yeah. So like maybe that's coloring my perception a little bit and making me forget, the countless other times he's disappointed everyone at majors. But I wrote down after the Wells Fargo, and we ended up not talking a whole lot about, in the recap, but I wrote down Rory's winning the PGA, and I'm sticking to it. That's what I wrote down. So I'm here to stay.
I like it. We mentioned last week, remember, we were talking about Max Homa, obviously, right after he won the Wells Fargo. And I mentioned he was at 100-1 at WinBet to win the PGA Championship. And if you wanted to bet on it then. And because now he's down to like 40-1, 50-1. So, which now I don't think there's much value on it. But if you're smart, you have an account at WinBet, you should have bet on Max Homa 100-1 last week. All right, my pick to win. Do you have a guess?
My gut said Corey Connors, but I know that's not right.
No, but the one golfer who's probably lost me just as much money as Corey Connors.
Xander Schauffele.
Yeah.
There we go.
This is such the amount of times, especially at majors, like I might have bet on, I think I've bet on Corey Connors more in just overall tournaments, but I think like every major for like the past 4 years I've bet on Xander Schauffele, and I swore I was going to do it again after he missed the cut at the Masters, and then what does he do? He starts playing the best golf of his career. Like he won the Zurich, he finished T5 last week, like he shot a 61 on Sunday. It's like, oh boy, here we go again. I'm betting on Xander Schauffele. I think the course fits his style of play very well. 4th in ball striking on tour, 23rd in strokes gained approach, 27th in proximity from the rough, which I think is going to be big this week. 32nd in strokes gained around the green. His putter has struggled, but his putter has gotten a little bit better recently. 59th in strokes gained putting. I don't know, man. I'm addicted to betting Xander. He's going to win a major at some point in his career, and if I don't bet on him the week that he wins a major, I will not be able to live with myself. So Xander Schauffele, one time. He's 20-1 at WynnBET. There are other prices out there, I'll say. Xander Schauffele. Once again, here we go.
I mean, I respect you so much, Iain, because my God, you have Xander Schauffele to win and Matt Fitzpatrick to top 5 this week.
Yeah.
After all we've been through, that's what you went with. So you know what? I tip my cap to you because that is something.
And now you know what's going to happen is like Corey Connor is going to win. Like the three guys who I wasted so much money on this season, I bet on 2 of them, and the third one I didn't bet on will go win.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I worry about Xander that, and granted, I don't think he's going to fall off like this person has, but I worry that there's a little bit of Ricky Fowler in him, where he's going to be one of the best players in the world, but Ricky, Ricky won the Players, but like he never showed up the way you thought he should talent-wise in the majors, and that has that feeling of Xander to me. I mean, he's contended more than Ricky ever did, but I just worry that there's something holding him back that we can't like quite quantify.
No one will ever be able to take away his gold medal.
Yes.
People on the PGA Tour right now can say they're Olympic gold medalists in golf.
Justin Rose, baby.
One of them is Xander.
I don't know. I mean, are
the Olympics a major tournament?
No, not at all. Not even close.
I think they are.
Oh, see, I completely disagree. I completely disagree. I mean, it's an impressive achievement, but I could not disagree with you more that it is not even remotely a major. I'd rather win the Players than a gold medal.
Oh, that's ridiculous. So the only event that matter more than a gold medal is the Masters, maybe.
Oh wow. Okay. We'll have to agree to disagree on that because I just don't see it, man. My God. Anytime I'm watching 12 people or however many it was on a green fighting for a bronze medal, I'm out on it, dude. It doesn't mean anything.
Who ended up getting the bronze medal? Wasn't it like CT Pan, or he was at least in the playoff?
He was in the playoff. We gotta look it up now.
Rory Sabatini hilariously won the silver medal.
It was CT Pan too. You're right. Oh my God!
What a podium! Xander Schauffele and Rory Sabatini and CT Pan. Rory Sabatini, who I'm sure you know this, famously, we're way off topic now, but famously South African, but then became Slovakian because he married a Slovakian woman. And he switched his citizenships just so he'd have a better chance at competing at the Olympics, and then went on to win silver medal. So it all kind of worked out. Like his master plan somehow worked out. And he's not even good. Like it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like he's like.
I think you're furthering my point.
Slovakia, except for like he literally married a Slovakian woman. Like it's not like his parents are Slovakian. Like he has no Slovakian blood. South African.
I can't remember what podcast it is, but there's a podcast that refers to him as the boy from Bratislava. And I think that's the funniest thing in the entire world because he's South African.
Slovakian national hero, Rory Sabatini.
That's right. But I think you're furthering my point of devaluing the gold medal because Xander Schauffele beat out Rory Sabatini and CT Pan to win the gold medal.
I didn't exactly. I didn't make a great argument for myself there. But there's our show, this week's PGA Championship. Do you have any final closing thoughts about the PGA Championship? Any Southern Hills thoughts? Any other thoughts? John Rahm, do you have any thoughts on him?
I mean, Rahm is kind of in the same boat as Scheffler, where if he wins, not remotely going to be surprised because he's John Rahm and he can win any tournament where he tees it up at. I'm just really excited for this week. I'm almost as excited for the PGA as I was the Masters, which is not something I often say.
Why?
It's not something I often say because I feel like even more so than the Masters, I feel like we have a lot of top guys like Rory, like JT, like Spieth, like Scheffler, like Rahm, who are just playing such good golf right now that I think we're going to get a really good competitive tournament with a lot of drama, and I think the course is going to be interesting. And then you throw in, the Tiger element again, and I think it's just going to be a really fun week of golf.
I know this is not we're supposed to be hyping up the PGA Championship here, but out of the 4 majors, the PGA Championship is a distant fourth for me in how much I care. And I would actually put the Players above the PGA Championship.
So I'm not going to argue with you on that. That's my ranking too. I might not have the Players above it, but I mean they're neck and neck. But I mean I would have the same ranking. It's just for whatever reason I found myself looking at this week and I was just like, man, I'm really hyped for this week. Like I think there's a lot going on that's just got me really excited for what could happen this week.
I definitely agree with all that. I assume Masters is the number one tournament you care about?
Absolutely.
What's next for you, U.S. Open or British Open?
Open Championship, baby. Take me overseas.
I like it. That's
What
brave
about you?
as an American to say that.
What about you?
Oh, Open Championship. I just love when they say the
Okay.
champion golfer of the year. I think that's great.
Oh yeah, and we get St. Andrews. I'm just hyped for major season. Let's be honest about it. I'm just ready, man. Let's go. Let's go full bore into it.
All right, we've gone way too long. That's our show. We got off topic a couple times, but hey, that's going to happen. So thank you to everyone for watching. One final reminder: head over to the BetSided Twitter account, check out the pinned tweet, enter to win a $500 Visa gift card, and it's super easy to enter. You just retweet, follow us, and reply with your pick to win. I would recommend not picking Xander Schauffele or Matt Fitzpatrick. Pick Rory. It's probably a better pick for the contest. All right, best luck with those picks from myself, from Cody. Good luck. Enjoy the tournament, and we will talk to you next week for...
I have no idea.
I don't know either. Is it the Canadian next week?
No, Canadian Open's first weekend of June because it's head-to-head with the Live Golf thing.
Oh, the legendary Charles Schwab Challenge. So tune in for that.
Oh, God.
All right, everyone. We'll talk to you next week. Enjoy the event.